Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're talking AMC. Every single day for the next coming week or so, I'm going to be doing updates specifically on AMC around 7 to 8 minutes every single video. So be prepared and have those notifications turned on regarding the stock. Today, Yellen is actually meeting. If you don't know who Yellen is, she's the Treasury Secretary, and she's going to be speaking with regulators about this stock. So this is pretty good. So if we get some pretty good news about corrections and overall punishments or changes in the market, because investors should be protected, her words precisely, we're going to get more into that here in a second. But before we do so, I need you to do one thing and one thing only. Hit that sub button down below, leave a thumbs up, and have the notifications turned on. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm doing updates and making videos daily over the stocks that I am trading. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get started. Okay, so first we're going to cover what Yellen is actually talking about today. We really need to make sure that our financial markets are functioning properly and that investors are protected. Talking primarily about retail investors. I think that she understands, along with her colleagues, that if the retail investors are spooked by stuff that's going on, especially with Robinhood and shutting down these overall stocks and only allow you to sell, that it's really going to put some negative light on overall investing, and these retail investors aren't going to want to dump their money into the economy. That's one reason why the economy is bouncing back so strong, is because retail investors are making such an impact this year alone. 2020 was huge for investors, especially in the retail space. More people than ever were getting into the market for the first time ever as well. Also in the video yesterday, I recorded before I got this news, but yesterday Dave Portnoy out of Barstool Sports, if you don't know who he is, also with Penn Gaming and stuff like that, he announced that he had sold all of his meme stocks, if you will, and put all of the remaining funds into AMC, totaling around 700,000, as you can read here from his Twitter. And then he provided images of those actual positions. If you don't know, Dave Portnoy has been very animated and adamant about what's going on in the market and how people need to be punished. He's gone on to show his actual losses from these positions. Even though he was up a huge and large amount, he decided to hold through the actual selling when they actually closed down these trades, which is totally unethical and wrong, which people need to be punished, which is why Yellen is actually speaking on this today. So that's going to be very big news going into tomorrow, so you can expect updates from me as well tomorrow night. But overall, we need people like Portnoy coming in and making comments and speaking their opinion, and not just your average retail investors. Dave Portnoy is a retail investor, although he is more of a well-off retail investor. Decent article from The Fool. AMC shares soared last week on a short squeeze and wave of buying after the stock was promoted alongside GameStop and Reddit's Wall Street Bets message board. It now seems like winners are taking profits after pushing the stock up as much as 400% in the last 3 sessions last week. As the stock market remained volatile since then, with extraordinary number of shares changing hands. Additionally, short interest in the stock has fallen in the last week, making another short squeeze unlikely. So looking at the short interest is actually dropping is actually somewhat negative. Now, if you follow First Squawk on Twitter, they're actually a very good and reliable news source for stocks. I recommend following them. They actually noticed that today the short interest was rising a little bit early in the morning around 4 or 5 a.m. So that is worth noting. So there is positions getting back in the short side of things. They also go on to say that Citigroup has given them a price target of $2, and then yesterday I also mentioned that MKM gave them a price target of $1. So that is worth noting. These analysts are coming in giving them very low price targets, but I don't think that affects the retail investors. A lot of people I know are still putting their money in and holding overall. As I mentioned yesterday, the more these retail investors start to sell their positions, the more it's going to hurt this overall stock. So it's pretty crucial that people are holding their positions overall with this stock. Now, personally, I've mentioned I'm not getting into this stock. I want to wait till it breaks that $10 mark. If it breaks above the $10 mark and can hold it for overall maybe half a day, then I will consider getting into that position. But as it sits, as it's trending below that $10, I don't see the potential reward. I think the risk definitely outweighs the reward. So that's personally what I'm looking for here. I mentioned it in yesterday's video, and I'm still sticking to that overall trend. We're going to get into the charts right now so I can actually show you what I mean. Okay, so looking at the chart over the past day, you've seen we've taken a massive leg on that downside. That is worth noting, but comparison to GameStop's pushing that $40 mark. That's a pretty big drop from that $110 what it was at yesterday, about a 50% overall drop, a little bit more. So that is worth noting that AMC is lagging behind GameStop, Express, and these other short squeezes that were going on. I don't even want to highlight these lower supports down here, because if they get tested, in my opinion, the short squeeze may as well just be over. We want to see the $7 to $6 range hold up here. I do not want to see a break below these local lows. If it breaks below and makes a new low, I'm feeling very bearish on the stock overall. But I'm still holding that bullish consensus if we can hold up, because in comparison, like I'm saying, compared to GameStop, Express, Naked Brands, these other plays, AMC is overall holding up much better than them. You can look at the charts. They look much better. Naked Brands is actually doing pretty decent today. So what you're looking for, especially on the short-term time scale, is you want to see a push back above this VWAP, right? So something like this where we get a push and then some slow trending up. Like I mentioned, we don't have to see an immediate boost back up. That is like the one thing, and I think the biggest misconception here is that you need to see a massive move on this stock to be bullish. The fact that we're trending kind of sideways in this zone right here, this $7 to $9 give or take, that's pretty strong in my opinion. GameStop had just been on the complete downturn from that $400 push. It's been nothing but downside. So that is worth noting that AMC is trying to hold in this space for the last 3 days. Now, if we get a push, like I said, to a new low down here, that would be very, very bad for the stock, and it would ultimately turn me very, very bearish. The after hours are going to be pretty key here, as well as we need to see what Yellen says on the after hours and what's going on with the SEC. So if you're in this stock already, you're already owning stock in this, what you're ultimately looking for is a push back above this VWAP, some type of trending, and then getting above these heavy supports and resistances. As you can see, this is a very big level of resistance. I think it's going to be pretty challenging to get above that level, about $8.90 and to $8.80, give or take, so a 10-cent range. Getting above $9 will be big as well. But ultimately, what I want to see before I start entering this position at all is a push and break above this $10 range, because if we can get that level, there's no doubt in my mind that we see a push of $13 to $14 easily within the next 2 days of breaking that overall spot. Another thing that I'm heavily watching, like I mentioned in the previous videos, is this OBV. You can see us continuously rejection, 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 and it looks like we might get rejected again here. If we can get a break above this OBV as well, that'd be another key indicator if you want to be a little bit more risky with getting your positions, is can we get above this in a short time frame? If we get any break above that, in my opinion, it's very, very bullish. But as you can see, we're kind of getting close to this overall bottoms here. So getting below that bottom is going to be pretty bearish. So if we do in fact get rejected here, there's a high chance we touch and then get a very big rejection to that downside. So that's another thing that I'm looking for on the chart. The OBV does not look great. Overall, right now, this is not a time to be entering the position. If you're holding, like I said yesterday from Mark Cuban, he said it's a hold. You got to hold your position. He thinks in the long run it will pay off. And there is some overall good news, though, with the stock. AMC is reopening theaters all around right now. That's worth noting as well. That could potentially be a catalyst to start pushing the stock up. They have announced that bankruptcy is off the table. They're opening up some of their theaters right now. I don't think the demand is that high for the theaters. I could be wrong there. But this is some overall short-term good news as well. So we'll have to see how that affects the market going into tomorrow. But guys, I will have more updates coming every single day. If you have any questions or anything you want me to cover in tomorrow's update, comment down below and I will specifically try to cover everything mentioned. Looking at AMC, I think there is potential room for the upside, especially comparing the stock to the other short squeezes. Yes, the short interest is going down. I think the article that we read is a little bit biased to the bearish side of things. Most of these institutions are biased towards the actual bearish side of things as well, so that is worth noting when you're reading these. But I think there is upside compared to any of the other plays. So if I'm looking at Naked, GME, or any of these other short squeezes, maybe even Sundial to a certain extent, I think AMC has the biggest chance to continue running. Sundial does look pretty bullish as well. That is worth noting. But like I said, I'm not looking for any positions unless we get that OBV break, and most of all, the break of $10. Breaking $10 will be major key for this stock and pushing to new highs around that $13 to $14 range. These are local highs, by the way, not all-time highs. That's going to wrap up the video, guys. Make sure you hit that sub, thumbs up, and turn the notifications on. I'm posting videos every single day about the stocks I'm trading and the updates overall. Have a good one. Namaste.